Well, with Iowa hilariously attempting to wrap up, and it looks like the impeachment fiasco is also wrapping up, Trump approval rating has hit an all-time high, and the GOP sees an upswing in support as well. President Trump's approval rating is the highest it's ever been, coming in at 49% in a new Gallup poll, which also found that 63% of Americans approve of the way Trump is handling the economy. Trump's ratings for handling foreign affairs and foreign trade topped out at 47% and 50% respectively, his best numbers to date. Democrats, their approval of Trump was largely unchanged, but for Republicans it was up 6%, up to a whopping 94% approval rating, almost unheard of in modern politics. And even more importantly, his approval is up 5% among independents to 42%. So President Trump's economic approval rating here is not only his highest, but the highest for any president since George W. Bush enjoyed stratospheric job approval ratings in the first few months after September 11. Gallup notes that Trump's approval rating has gone up, but so has that of the GOP, with now 51% of Americans viewing the Republican Party favorably, up from 43% in September. That's just a few months, and that's an enormous swing in sentiment. And you got to remember, the Republican Party is still kind of coming off a really negative and tarnished image from the dual wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. So the fact that you're seeing the Republicans move up, this could be within a margin of error. This could be 10% swing in just a few months. And so this is continuing with this theme I've been talking about in this nationalism is rising. We're seeing a swing from the lower left of the political compass to the upper right. We're seeing the swing from chaos back to order, from emotion to logic, from self-indulgence to rule of law. And as I pointed out in my last video, as this happens and as people become not only aware of it, but begin to accept it, as we saw Bank of America did at the start of 2020, saying the political paradigm we've been living under, which is globalism, is over now. And it's going to be really funny to watch a lot of people you wouldn't expect become really smart, really fast, particularly when it comes to censorship and the First Amendment. And I have to admit, this next one, it even surprised me. I wasn't expecting this. It was Mark Zuckerberg. So here we have Mark Zuckerberg declares Facebook is going to, quote, stand up for free expression and allow people to post what they want. But the CEO admits the new move will tick off a lot of people. Now, I guess I'll believe what I see it, but it's interesting the way power warps rhetoric and what people say and do in public. All of a sudden he realizes he better get on the right side of this pendulum swing, or he's going to get knocked out. So Mark Zuckerberg hit out at excessive censorship during a tech summit, which is funny because Facebook is one of the worsts. YouTube is bad, but YouTube still allows a lot of people on there that Facebook has gotten rid of. During a tech summit appearance on Friday, vowing that Facebook would stand up for free speech. So he's trying to get on the right side of power, the new rising power in the West. The social media CEO said his company had previously tried to avoid being too offensive, but would no longer curtail to those against freedom of expression. And I suspect this is one kind of this realization: you go woke, you go broke, that if you let the minority Twitterati dictate terms to you, they continue to move the goalposts, and it just gets more and more extreme, and they never stop, and it would destroy his business. So, Zuckerberg, he wants money. He says he has some political aspirations, so he can't do that if he destroys his golden goose here. Zuckerberg predicted the move would undoubtedly tick people off. It's not going to make many people mad. Most Americans support the First Amendment and the Constitution. It's going to tick off a very loud, vocal minority of people that have previously had the wind in their sails, that they're losing the cultural wind here. And so don't worry about those people. It would lead to the creation of a more authentic product. Well, more robust discussion. You can't just define your opponents out of existence. You actually have to engage with ideas because you have to get to truth. The company has been under fire for failing to ban or fact check political ads. You can take any political ad and mark it false. It's just a matter of your own personal bias. And here we have Facebook stocks drop by 7.2% Wednesday, and the firm reported its slowest ever revenue growth for the fourth quarter. Well, if you have a platform and you're pushing people off of it, and instead of encouraging them to sign up, you're banning them, what do you expect? Especially when you get rid of the cool kids. It's like if you were trying to open a store in the mall, you'd be advertising. You'd be trying to pull people in. You don't push people away. It's no way to run a business. So just a few bullet points. I like how they now call him the controversial CEO. Okay, once you go against the narrative, you start getting these adjectives applied to you. And it was a fiery appearance. Was it really? I mean, the guy shows no emotion whatsoever. He's a robot. So, Zuckerberg told the audience they tried to resist moves that would be branded as too offensive. Yeah, excessive censorship. I wonder what woke him up. I don't think there was a moment where he was like, we've censored one too many. It's this realization that the Democrats are falling flat on their face, and we're entering a more nationalistic and more free period in history. This nationalism will lead to increased freedom. So he says, increasingly, we're getting called to censor a lot of different kinds of content that makes me really uncomfortable. So losing money is making him uncomfortable. We're going to take down content that's really harmful. There's obvious things, actual violence doesn't need to be there. But when it's open, honest discussion, that's the point of free speech. That's the point of our Constitution. So he says the line needs to be held at some point. And this is always odd to me, this level of self-awareness they show, and that everybody begins to show once power is on the other side. Once this pendulum begins to shift, he said, it kind of feels like the list of things that you're not allowed to say socially keeps on growing. And I'm not really okay with that. And we all know how the supporters of censorship, they're just labeling more and more things, unspeakable names. And so you know what they're going to call him next. But he, and this is so funny. This is the new approach, free expression. And I think it's going to tick a lot of people off. But the old approach was ticking a lot of people off too, so let's try something different. This is one of these thought-terminating cliches, so let's try something different. It doesn't actually mean anything, and you can just, you've got to kind of excise it from the sentence. What's he actually saying? The old approach wasn't working, so it's time to change for a new approach, because I need to keep revenue coming. I need to continue to grow my company. So I just want to take a few minutes to point this one out, and also point out this isn't going to be the first surprise. This isn't going to be the first public personality that comes out in support of more nationalistic ideas as this pendulum swings. There'll be some shockers, there'll be some fun ones, and we'll watch and we'll laugh when we see them. Because these people have no underlying solid philosophy or understanding. They're just kind of going with the direction they see the popular kids going, the direction the power is swinging. So it's always funny just to appreciate the vapid platitudes spit out there by people in positions of authority. But of course, the true test will be who comes out in support of the Second Amendment.